वेलकम बैक टू Q&A विद P J Mir। आज 10वीं मुहर्रम है, अशूरा है, और आपने जैसे देखा कि पूरे पाकिस्तान और जहाँ भी इस्लामी ममालिक हैं आज वहाँ अशूरा मनाया जा रहा है। लेकिन यहाँ हमने कोशिश की है कि मुख्तलिफ लोग यहाँ लेके आएँ, मुख्तलिफ मज़हब लेके आएँ और उनके व्यू पॉइंट लेके आएँ। इंटरनेशनल एक कहते हैं ना कि इंटरफेथ डायलॉग होना चाहिए, इमाम हुसैन के मुतालिक पता लगना चाहिए, क्योंकि जो नई जनरेशन है पढ़ती तो बड़ी है, इंटरनेट पे चले जाते हैं, फेसबुक पे चले जाते हैं, ट्विटर पे हो जाता है, लेकिन क्या अपने मज़हब के मुतालिक कुछ पता है? अपने जो फॉलोअर्स हैं, वेदर दे मे बी क्रिश्चियंस, दे मे बी जूस, दे मे बी हिंदूज, सिख्स, whoever, the question is, do they really know where they're coming from and what is the historical background of the religion? So coming back to you, Imam Musavi, the relevance, we were talking just before the break, the relevance of Imam Hussain on the new generation, in society, in communities, how important it is today.
You mentioned that it is in Pakistan. I would like to add that according to our survey, today there is no country on this planet without majlis gathering commemoration of Imam Hussein. Right from China and Cambodia and Vietnam, going to Alaska. And we have got details about it. So it is being commemorated, observed all over the world. The relevance is very important, of course. It is the lessons of Imam Hussein's mission. Today, we need the lessons very, very badly. We need to know that we should stand against injustice, because all of us agree that injustice is bad, but not all of us have the courage to stand against injustice and sacrifice for the truth. Imam Hussein teaches us to stand against injustice, and this is most required in today's injustice. The political injustice, the economic injustice, the social injustice. Every person who is oppressed today needs to take from Imam Hussein a lesson to stand against injustice. The lesson of human partnership, as Imam Hussein's father, Hazrat Ali, Imam Ali, peace be upon him, said that every human being is either your brother in faith or your partner in humanity. So all human beings are partners at least. So we don't say that we are different type of people. No, all human beings are partners in humanity, which is very important. And you find that Imam Hussein's army, though it was a very small army, but it had John. John was a Christian. You had people from Africa. And you know, and the mentality of Arabs before Islam was mentality of discrimination. They used to look down to non-Arabs. But Imam Hussein broke that, and you have with his party people from Africa. Wahab was Christian. John was also Christian. So he made a practical example of the partnership of all human beings against injustice. Also, you find Imam Hussein gave a great role to the women. And now many people think that Islam gives low profile to women. And you find that Imam Hussein gave the main role in Karbala after him to his sister Zainab. And Zainab continued the mission of Karbala after Imam Hussein in a great, and because of her great sacrifices in Karbala and after Karbala, now people know what happened in Karbala. So the lesson of the great role of women in the society. Also you find the role of the youth, as you find that his son Ali al-Akbar and his nephew Al-Qasim were young people, and they had very big role in Karbala. So that encourages every young person to be active and to be influential in the community, in the society. So these are some of the lessons. Of course, we have got many, but we say that there is very important issues we can take from Imam Hussein in today's world, and I hope that all faiths jointly can cooperate to work together, not only to talk, but to work together to try to tackle the injustice in all possible sides, taking lessons from Imam Hussein alayhi salam.
Yes.
I would slightly like to touch on a current issue in human society that we are facing. The incident of Karbala, Ashura, also emerged the concept of immigration and migration. Because persecution behind the migration of Ahl Bayt was very important. They belonged to Hijaz, they left Hijaz, and Imam Hussein and Ahl Bayt, they were killed, they were martyred in Kufa, in Iraq. Their migration was because of the persecution they were facing. And finally, their persecution was ended into their martyrdom. And today, I also want to give a strong message to people coming from Indian subcontinent, especially to Pakistan. We learn in history that Imam Hussein offered, let me go to India. Because at that time, India was the land, or India was the land of hope, India was the land of safety, and India was the land of fertility for religious thoughts and for religious freedom. अगर इंडिया की आप और तारीख में चले जाएं तो यहूदियत इस्लाम और क्रिश्चियनिटी से सदियों पहले वहाँ चली गई और अभी तक दुनिया की कदीम यहूदी जो कम्युनिटीज़ हैं उनमें से एक कोचिन कम्युनिटी इंडिया में है। और अगर मसीहत की बात करें आप तो क्रिश्चियनिटी अपनी बिल्कुल अर्ली एज में जब यूरोप में भी नहीं पहुंची थी तो वो इंडिया में पहुंच गई। हज़रत मसीह के एक हवारी अपने टेक्सला में रहे, टेक्सला के बाद वो इंडिया में मद्रास में चले गए और वहाँ पर उनकी शहादत हुई। इसी तरह इमाम हुसैन जब ये कहते हैं कि मुझे इंडिया जाने दो तो इसका मतलब है कुछ है वहाँ पर कि वहाँ पर रिलीजियस फ्रीडम होगी, वहाँ पर मुझे अपने नज़रियात को फ्लरिश करने का मौका मिलेगा, वो ज़मीन अच्छी है, वो लोग अच्छे हैं, वहाँ का मुआशरा अच्छा है, वो मुआशरा वेलकमिंग है। तो मैं समझता हूँ कि हिंदुस्तान, पाकिस्तान और उन इलाके के रहने वाले लोगों को ख़ास तौर से अपनी खुद तारीख में एक्सप्लोर करना चाहिए कि एक वक्त था कि मजलूम अरब और दुनिया के मुख्तलिफ हिस्सों से हमारे पास आकर सोचा करते थे कि हमें यहाँ पर पनाह मिलेगी, हमारा मज़हब वहाँ पर फैलेगा। और शायद यही वजह है कि बहुत बड़ी इस्लामी कम्युनिटी इंडियन सब कॉन्टिनेंट के अंदर है और यही वजह है कि क्रिश्चियन चर्च इंडियन सब कॉन्टिनेंट में अपनी हिस्टोरिकल रूट्स रखता है और यही वजह है कि और दुनिया के बड़े बड़े तीन मज़ाहब, हिंदुइज़्म, हमारे दरमियान आज हमारे हिंदू भाई हैं, और जैन मत, सिखिज़्म और गौतम बुद्ध, ये वहाँ से कोई इमिग्रेंट रिलीजन्स नहीं थे बल्कि उस लैंड ने इन रिलीजन को ओरिजिनेट किया। तो मैं समझता हूँ कि अशुरा एक तरफ तो ये इमिग्रेशन और इमिग्रेंट कम्युनिटीज़ को ये बड़ा स्ट्रॉन्ग मैसेज देता है कि वेयर देयर इज़ होप देयर इज़ लाइफ, और कहीं भी हमें होपलेस नहीं होना चाहिए। आज भी दुनिया में बहुत से ऐसे ममालिक, बहुत सी ऐसी जगह हैं जहाँ पर मजलूम लोग खा वो इकोनॉमिकल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन का शिकार हों, वेदर देयर इज़ इकोनॉमिकल डिस्पैरिटी और इनजस्टिस, वेदर देयर इज़ अ रिलीजियस डिस्पैरिटी और इनजस्टिस, पीपल मूव फ्रॉम दैट पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड टू द वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड। लेकिन आज शायद पाकिस्तान और वहाँ के लोगों को अपनी तारीख में जाकर फिर अपने उस दौर को देखना चाहिए कि वो क्या वजूहात थी कि आज फिर लोग कहें कि अगर हम अपने मुल्कों में दुनिया के मुख्तलिफ हिस्सों में तंग होंगे तो हम शायद पाकिस्तान जाएंगे और वहाँ पर जाकर हमें पनाह मिलेगी, वहाँ जाएंगे, वहाँ पे हमें अपनी नज़रियात फैलाने की और नज़रियात के साथ ज़िंदगी बसर करने का मौका मिलेगा। आज फिर हम उस दौर को वापस लेकर आएँ कि हम पाकिस्तान, हिंदुस्तान, बांग्लादेश, इन इलाकों में जाएंगे और वहाँ पर जाकर हमें कोई मारेगा नहीं, हमें कोई कत्ल नहीं करेगा, वहाँ पर कोई यजीद नहीं होगा, वहाँ पर कोई ऐसे हालात नहीं होंगे। We need to think, I mean, people coming from that part of the world, we really need to explore something from our past, from our history, how we can bring our history back and how we can present a hopeful part of the world to the whole humanity.
So, Bonnie, when we speak about religions, you know, we see a lot of intolerance. People do not have that gut insight to accept somebody else, and with the result, as what Reverend is saying, that, you know, we see all kinds of turmoil, and then these turmoils embroil each other into international conflicts. So how do we pacify a person perhaps who's not well educated, or perhaps a person who's totally, you know, wayless?
Well, I think, gosh, how do you pacify somebody who's ignorant? I think that the only thing that you can really do is to try and educate them and reach out with a hand of love. But I think. But when
you say to educate them religiously, then we have this conflict. One religion wants it their way, the other religion wants it their way.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I heard a story about a Roman Catholic priest who was in the north of Ireland alongside of a Protestant minister, and they were living through the Troubles in Northern Ireland that you might have heard about. people were killed. The tension was terrific. But they reached across the divide. Now this is Christian and Christian. They reached across the divide and developed a very strong friendship. But along with that reaching across the divide, as fearful as that was and as courageous as it was to do that, they also found difficulty when they turned back to their own community, their own communities who didn't understand what they were doing, why they were reaching across to their enemy, so to speak, even though it was another Christian. So there's a terrific struggle that we have. In Egypt, I was privileged to have done an exchange, a theological exchange with Al-Azhar in Egypt when I was in my theological college training for ministry in Cambridge. So I have a number of friends and a number of contacts. And during the whole of the Arab Spring in Tahrir Square, it must have been a tremendous atmosphere. There were Muslims who, when they prayed, were surrounded hand by the Christians who were also in Tahrir Square, protecting them. And then when the Christians needed to take time to pray, it was the Muslims who protected them in Tahrir Square. I mean, we hear a lot about churches that have been attacked in Egypt. What we haven't heard about is, and as horrific as that is, also what we haven't heard about, and it's a great shame, is the time that there was a march from one of the main mosques in Cairo to the main cathedral in Cairo, where Muslims and Christians walked hand in hand between the two to say, we're not going to stand for all this division. It takes courage, and it takes a tremendous amount of spiritual strength to continue to work hard at building our friendships, and also to trying to educate our own communities about what it is that we are doing. It's not an easy thing. You know, I could stand up here and say, oh yes, it's all lovely, reaching across, yes, I love my brother and my sister who are Muslim or Hindu or Jewish or whatever. Yes, of course I do, but that's not an easy choice, because there are people who don't understand and who question what we're doing.